Good afternoon, I'm Alan Unell, and this series of videos is Healthcare Advocacy, where we address problems in the healthcare system and then take actions to try and make a better system for all of us. Before we get started, we have some really interesting medical news, but before we get into that, down below in the YouTube description box is the Healthcare Advocacy newsletter link, which is the text for today's video. It's loaded with all of the background material, links to medical reports and disclosures, and all the actions. And it has a whole bunch of references regarding medicine and advocacy you might find useful. Subscribe for free. Get it delivered to your inbox most every day. So let's talk about broken bones. Surgeons routinely use stainless steel or titanium to repair severe bone damage, really bad breaks, which stay in the body forever and can cause discomfort and may require follow-up surgeries. And if you have anything like this and you're in cold weather, it gets really cold inside very fast. Now, it turns out that a new zinc alloy was designed by biomedical engineers at Monash University in Australia. It could solve all these problems by being mechanically strong but gentle enough to degrade safely over time while supporting optimal healing. The study that the university did was published in Nature, and there's a link to it in the newsletter. It shows the research team's innovative approach to making the zinc alloy as strong as permanent steel implants, but more durable than other biodegradable options like magnesium-based implants. The research shows that by engineering the size and orientation of the material's grains, the zinc alloy can bend and adapt in unique ways to accommodate the shapes of neighboring tissues. This made it not only stronger, but also more flexible, offering a real game-changing alternative for orthopedics. That's according to the lead researcher. You can find a link to the Monash University report in there as well. Let's talk briefly about influenza, flu, not bird flu. California is now grappling with an unusually severe flu season this winter, with hospitalizations rising and concerns that the outbreak is going to last for several more weeks. The situation is particularly dire in the San Francisco Bay Area, where Dr. Peter Chin Hong, an infectious disease expert at University of California, San Francisco, said. He said flu activity has reached alarming levels. He noted that at local clinics, more than 70% of the respiratory virus tests are testing positive for influenza, outpacing the combined totals of RSV, COVID-19, and the common cold. Okay, if you haven't caught the flu this season, perhaps you know someone who has, or you're concerned about the virus infiltrating your household. We are, by at least one measure, in the midst of the nation's worst flu season in recent decades. At least 24 million illnesses, 310,000 hospitalizations, get this, 13,000 influenza-linked deaths. Did you know that? And 57 of those were children. All of that has plagued the U.S. just this season, according to the CDC. Flu-related emergency department visits necessitated the CDC's most severe, very high ranking as of February 7th, as did influenza virus activity in national wastewater samples. Look, make sure you get vaccinated. My son just had flu. Since he was vaccinated, his symptoms were gone in a few days, like 3 or 4. Meanwhile, some of his co-workers who also came down with flu and were not vaccinated, they were out for weeks. Okay, scientists opposing Trump. Stand up for science. For the first month of the Trump administration, it appeared that there was little organized resistance to its attacks on the existing system of biomedical research. But resistance is starting to form. Unions representing fellows at the National Institute of Health and several universities are planning a protest at the headquarters of the Department of Health and Human Services next week. That's the week of the 17th of February, 2025. Simultaneously, there is a grassroots group of scientists planning a protest again in Washington, D.C. and at state capitals around the country on March 7th. This is according to the Stat newsletter. However, I found the announcement for the Stand Up for Science March on March 7th around the country I registered. I'll put a link in the YouTube description box. You should register too. Go. We all have to stand up. Let's talk about Republicans to Congress, Republicans in Congress to America. They have a common phrase. Here's the phrase: drop dead. House Republicans on Wednesday unveiled a broad outline of their plans for the federal budget, using cuts to social programs to help pay for trillions of dollars in tax cuts. The budget outline indicates Republicans are planning on $4.5 trillion in tax cuts over the next 10 years. Spending cuts would offset a part of that cost, but only part. So that means that the blueprint's goals would add trillions of dollars to the country's deficit. The document that they have doesn't specify exactly what programs to cut, but analysts who looked at it said the clear implication is that Republicans are looking for deep reductions in programs like Medicaid and supplemental nutrition assistance and the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP, both of which serve low-income Americans, given the GOP ruled out cuts to Medicare or Social Security. This is according to the Huffington Post. Look, 42 million of us rely on SNAP and food stamps every month. And in addition, there are 5 million more senior citizens who are qualified and hungry, but they are too ashamed to apply for SNAP. 80 million of us are on Medicaid. We have a poverty issue in this country, and the Republicans want to line their pockets and the pockets of their donors with money taken from the poor. I cannot imagine how they sleep at night knowing that their money comes from a hungry child. Look, let's remind our representatives in D.C. that taking food and health care from the poor to enrich themselves and the already wealthy is a disgrace. Remind them that you expect them to halt all business in Congress, especially on budgets, until the Trump gang of hooligans and liars stops and reverses their illegal actions. Contact information is in the resource section of the YouTube description box if you want to call, or you can send a text message. Just send the message SIGN, S-I-G-N, space PALOIS to 50409 on your cell phone. That's SIGN, S-I-G-N, space PALOIS. It's good to make them all capitals. Here's what you'll be sending. I'm your constituent, and I am ashamed of the Republicans looking to cut taxes to help the wealthy by reducing SNAP and Medicaid. Let me point out to you that we have a poverty problem in this country, which will be made worse by this kind of cruel behavior. 42 million people need nutrition assistance monthly, and that doesn't include 5 million hungry seniors too ashamed to apply. 80 million of us need Medicaid, and 3 million will lose their health care if there are any Medicaid cuts, and another 18 million will lose health care if the cuts can't be made up by the states. I fully expect you to have some compassion for the poor and to recognize that taking food and health care from them to line the pockets of the wealthy is not just greedy, it is cruelty. I think a better course of action for you, my representative in Congress, is to refuse to negotiate on anything with anyone until Trump and his gang halt their illegal assault on our democracy and reverse the illegal actions they have taken. That includes restoring data, restoring federal agencies and the jobs as Congress authorized. When that's done, think about spending, and then no cuts to SNAP or Medicaid. Okay, that's what I've got for you today. Down below, you can like, share, subscribe, send me comments here or at healthcareadvocacy1@gmail.com. Have a good day.